Hello and welcome to another video on my channel. Today it's a bit different. I've been reading the One Piece manga for a long time now, but I've stopped watching the anime since I basically started the manga, because going over from manga to anime has always been a bit difficult for me. But there's one thing that I love that the anime does, which I just never can get from the manga. Obviously there's voice acting and sound design and everything from there, but the one thing that I really love that hypes up anime for me are the openings. So today you can see this One Piece manga enjoyer, maybe expert, call me that, react or rank all the anime openings that have aired so far, all 24 of them. To not anger the almighty cats, we're not going to show or make you listen to the music in this video, but you probably heard the openings more than once already, and if not, you can find them all over YouTube, but I'm not going to tell you anything else. I'm just going to watch them on my own, and then I'm going to use this nice platform that we all know, Tier Maker, to rank all 24 openings. I have divided them into different ranks, which is the top tier is Uta, because Uta is the best musician out of entire One Piece. Then we have the Soul King Brook, then we have Scratchman Apu, then we have the C rank, because nobody knows what C does. We don't even have that many musicians in One Piece, so it's just C. And we have at the bottom rank, it's the Simon tier. Well, Simon is the one character that nobody really cares about, because he's from the one game, the Paper Logia, which actually should be pretty strong, but Simon is always the bottom of One Piece rankings. So, while I'm not going to show you the music, I'm going to have a few cuts here and there in this video where I'm going to listen to the songs and then rank them in the positions where I think that they belong. Maybe at the end or in between the sessions we need also to readjust some of them, but for now I'm going to listen to the first song, which is the classic We Are. Yes, We Are is a very special song. It holds a pretty important part in our heart, I would assume. We Are has everything I think I want in an opening, but there's also the thing that there's nostalgia in it, because this is one of the openings that I watched, because I think I watched One Piece up till not Skypiea, I think it was Enies Lobby, but then I switched over to the manga because I just didn't catch more episodes on TV, and then manga was more convenient to read. So One Piece, We Are, the first opening, I think it goes into the Soul King Brook place here. It might be at the top there, or it could rank up into Uta later down the line, because We Are has everything. It shows the adventure that the characters will go on, and it has a very nice melody as well, and the singing, you can hear it's a bit older, but it's still fine for an opening. And I feel like We Are belongs in the A tier, but the S tier, or Uta tier as it's called here, might be a bit hard to reach. So now it's the different question: how will the future openings hold up to that? And how will I react to the openings that are later down the line? Because I heard that the Wano openings, or the openings in the current parts from One Piece, are amazing, but I don't have the nostalgia factor boosting them up. So without further ado, let's get into the second opening, which is Belief. Okay, Belief is a bit of a different thing than We Are. It didn't hold up as well as I think. It did have the nice opening part where the narrator talked about adventures and going on these things, and yes, this song feels like you go on an adventure, but it just doesn't really carry on that feeling over the entire progress. I listened to it and I think at first I thought, and in the middle part where the chorus I think is that, I thought that to myself, yeah, this sounds interesting. This is actually a powerful song, but then in the other parts it just fell down and the energy got lost. So I feel like Belief belongs into the C tier, but it's not a bad song. In general, I don't think that any of One Piece openings probably will be bad, so even Simon is not necessarily bad, and that's just how a Paper Logia is not bad in itself. So Believe, even though it's in the C tier, it's a song that you can listen to if you want to. It's just, I didn't vibe with it as much as We Are, and it actually, We Are and many of the other songs that will come up in the future, I remember them, but I didn't remember Beliefs, so that says a lot about it to begin with. Now, I just think that from here on out, it will be a bit harder for me to see if I remember them, or if they belong into upper tiers or something, because now that some of them are already placed, I need to think if they are higher than that or lower than that in the tier itself. So with 5 ranks only, this is going to be quite important to determine which part is in the upper A level, upper Soul King Brook level, or in the lower C ranks, you know, all the good stuff. But for now, let's get into the third opening, which is Hikarie, I think. I need to correct myself. I think it's actually Hikari, which is just light. And Hikari is... I remember that song. It was pretty good. One Piece has a talent, or the person who decided which openings are going to be One Piece openings, they have a good talent of making these songs feel like they actually make you go on an adventure. Hikari is now actually the first opening, I think, after the Alabasta arc, because we now also have Chopper and Robin in the openings, which I don't think we had in Belief. So this is already the part where the crew starts to increase in size, and this opening that is carried together with just that the story progresses and you really notice the adventure is starting. We had the first big saga, which is over now, which was the Alabasta saga, and we are going big into this adventure. It had a very nice chorus as well. It's very catchy and has the potential of being an earworm, like it's staying in your ear and your head forever. But I don't think it had the same amount of power and, in fact, though, just strength in the song and lyrics that We Are had as the first opening of the series. So Hikari, it will be also in the Soul King Brook tier, but it will be below We Are. So this is, I think, a fair ranking. And when you're still here, just remember, you can tell me the ranking of all 24 openings from yourself as well in the comments down below. I would love to interact with you and see what sort of music you like. But I will now react or listen to opening 4 first before we get into anything else. From what I've seen, I assume that Bon Voyage, the 4th opening, is actually somewhere around the time where we go to Jaya or Skypiea. I really don't have any recollection. I know this opening. This opening is really good, but it can't hold a candle to Hikari and We Are. So first of all, I think it goes into Scratchman and Poo tier. It's a good opening, but instead of going on an adventure, this feels more like going on a trip. It shows you that the Straw Hats are now more than just a group of ragtag adventurers. They actually have somewhat become a family, which is also very nice to see, because this is what One Piece is. At first it's an adventure together with people, with friends you just met, but over the time the crew, your nakama, become your family. So the message in Bon Voyage, it feels a bit more sentimental, which also uses the theme of showing the backstories of the characters that we have seen so far, with Robin being a few sneak peeks here, because I don't know if we saw a bit of Robin's flashbacks already at that time, but depending on what, at least we saw a few flashbacks for the other characters, and they want to get us emotional with this opening, which worked in itself, but it doesn't have the same power, which I like in songs, compared to We Are or Hikari. So Bon Voyage belongs into Scratchman and Poo, which is, I think, good for it. And we will now listen to Kokoro No Chizu, which is, I think, the Map of Your Heart, which is the 5th opening, and it seems to be... Is it pre-Thriller Bark? Thriller Bark is going to be a bit later, I think. But let's get into it. If I had to say anything, I think this is the One Piece opening. Not necessarily the best, but it really hits the vibes what I think is all about One Piece. And it's also the first opening that comes to my mind when I think about One Piece. It's the arcs with Long Ring Long Land, where we see the best antagonist of the entire anime, Foxy, and also a bit of Water 7 here and there, seeing a bit of Luffy versus Usopp, the worst character, and so many more things. So I think Kokoro no Chizu belongs into the Soul King Brook tier, and I would also put it over Hikari, but not over We Are. We Are has this edge. Well, I don't want to give nostalgic factor as well. We Are in itself just really is a nice opening as the opening of One Piece. It really makes you feel like the adventure is going to start, and it shows you how big the world is. There are so many characters that appear in that opening, so I think we are still our first thing here. But as of now, I have not felt an opening that belonged into the Uta tier. So I think I remember one song that really needs to go there, and I don't know if it's Crazy Rainbow down the line or if it's We Go or something else. But for now, let's just go into the 6th opening, which is Brand New World. Brand New World did a lot of things. It's the opening of the CP9 arc, maybe a bit of Water 7 still, but I think this is our first Uta tier. Maybe that's controversial, but this opening did a lot of things. It showed the closeness of the Straw Hat Pirates as a family, but it also showed the adventure. It revealed... I mean, it's the first opening to show us Gear 2nd. I hope it was revealed in the anime first before this opening aired. I mean, openings often spoil stuff even for manga readers. So there is a bit of a problem here and there, but Brand New World did a lot of things. It's very catchy, it shows you what the Straw Hats are, it shows you the current enemies, it shows you how powerful the characters have grown, and it also shows you how close they have become together. We've seen the Chopper hiding thing, we see Usopp as Sogeking, we've seen Nami taking care of Chopper because Chopper is the youngest, and all of them still seem to care for him like he's their younger brother or child in itself. And also we got the first look at Frankie, even though we didn't know that Frankie would join the crew just yet. I mean, at that time there were the theories that maybe Paulie or Iceberg would become the shipwrights of the Straw Hat Pirates. I've even seen theories where people like Kaku could become the Straw Hat Pirates shipwright, because even when Kaku was revealed to be a member of CP9, people still were thinking like, oh, maybe Kaku, after all of this is over, wants to switch sides and is going to become the shipwright of the Straw Hat Pirates, which is interesting. I wouldn't be opposed to having a giraffe in the crew, but now he's doing a bit of a different things currently on the manga. But that's not too important for us. We are going to go to the we're going to the 7th opening, which is We Are Straw Hats. Let's go. We Are Straw Hats is a nice touch. I feel like some people could have gotten emotional because it's been a long journey already. Going from all the way from the East Blue to now, this is the first thing post Enies Lobby. So it has been a long journey. And We Are Straw Hats is just like, it's basically just the same opening as the first one, We Are, but instead of the original singer, it's all of the Straw Hats members singing it. So honestly, at first I was a bit shook up because it even has the same animations and everything, so it's not that much different in that sense. So while We Are is Soul King Brook, I have to give We Are Straw Hats, I have to make it below Bon Voyage, which is still not bad, obviously, but it's not the same thing as the original We Are. I feel like if this is actually... Imagine We Are as the last ever opening of One Piece. Like, I don't know if it's opening 30 or 40 at that point, but then we have all of the Straw Hat members now, including as well Frankie, Brook, maybe Yamato, Carrot, and Jinbei, maybe Uta. All of these characters just join in, and we have all of these characters singing together, We Are. This maybe, if this is actually the last opening as well as the first, it might get a tier out of me. But for We Are Straw Hats, as I said, it's going into the 2nd spot of the Scratchman Apu list here, below Bon Voyage, but it's still a good song. And I feel like if you grew up with that and heard it the first time, you watched from episode 1 with 2, which I think is already over episode 200. When was CP9 done? I don't really remember the episode numbers. I don't even remember the chapter numbers because I don't remember numbers. But it really could hit you right in the feels if you grew up with that and then you hear all the characters sing. I feel like that was a very smart decision to make the characters sing, but for song quality, it's obviously not as good as the original We Are. But now let's get into the 8th opening. At this point I am confused because I don't know if in the 8th opening, Crazy Rainbow, shouldn't Frankie already be a part of the crew? I feel like this is post Enies Lobby, so also post Water 7 and all these other things. We are on our way to Flabark and everything, so I'm not sure if Frankie should be in here yet or not. But even if he's not in the opening, it shows the Straw Hats again on a crazy adventure together on an island, relaxing their time, Sanji simping for Nami and Robin, Usopp, Luffy, Chopper, all of them having fun together, while Zoro, I think, is trying to fish or catch some monsters, fishes with some sort of Poseidon spear. What's the spear again called? I don't remember. You can also tell me that. So I feel like this is a fun opening. It's going to be above Hikarie, but it's Soul King Brook. It's not an Uta song. I feel that Crazy Rainbow is a really popular song, so it's going to be interesting if you can agree with me in it being at, like, somewhere around in this part of the ranking, or however it's going to look at the end of the tier list. But we're not going to waste too much time on this song. We're going to go straight over to opening 9, which is Jungle P. Now, opening 9, I think this is another Uta tier, but it's below Brand New World for me. It had everything that I wanted. It showed Frankie, it also showed Brook, which kind of spoiled that Brook is going to be another Straw Hat or the next Straw Hat. I didn't remember that. I mean, I never watched Thriller Bark as the anime, so makes sense that I don't remember it, but it has the rap part, which I enjoy. It has nice animation, it shows the adventures, it shows the Sunny and also the Burst coup with the Sunny flying over the clouds. It is everything that a One Piece opening needs. And the song as well, if this was an anime that I watched, I probably would never skip the opening. But it's up to you to decide if it actually belongs in Uta tier. For me, it's up there, not as good as Brand New World or anything that might come down later down the line. But for now, let's go to this 10th opening, which is another We Are, the 3rd already. So now we go to We Are 10th Anniversary. Now, this is how you do a thing with a 10th anniversary and showing that an opening is coming back. This We Are is, in my opinion, my new top 1. Which is funny because now we are at the top of the Uta tier and the Soul King Brook tier. This We Are, the 10th anniversary, was amazing. It showed the entire journey that we went on, with the Straw Hats slowly joining Luffy while he walks on the beach, and then we see the order that they joined in. We've seen all the characters they met, all the allies and enemies they fought against. We see their next big enemy, which was Ors at that time, I assume, because he was the big thing that they fought against together as a group. But we also seen other things that are happening, like Shanks quietly observing Luffy, which he's still doing, even though he has been getting quite close to Luffy in the recent arcs. And then we also seen people like Blackbeard fighting against Ace, and we've seen the 5 Elder Stars to Gorosei for the first time. This opening has shown a lot of things, and I think this is a big thing of One Piece. Even if we already had 10 openings and it's the 10th anniversary, there is still a lot to discover in this world. A lot to see, a lot of adventures to go on, and this is exactly what One Piece is about. Go on adventures together with friends, together with your Nakama, and this is actually what makes this opening so great and right for it to be in the first place of my tier list as of now. But we shouldn't waste too much time. We go into Share the World, which is the 11th opening. And this one I for sure have not heard yet. This opening was maybe a bit too much. I feel like they wanted a lot of things in the opening, which is why we've seen the whole of Sabaody, which is every supernova, everybody else there, a bit of the battle against Kuma and everybody getting separated. Then we've also seen Luffy meeting Boa and all of the different warlords. We've seen not Shanks, Jinbei for the first time. And we also see that Ace's Vivre card is burning up, which is also the teaser that Marineford is coming. And we also see Luffy fighting an Impel Down. So that shows how much stuff they wanted to put into one opening and how many things that are ongoing here. How long one opening is actually going to stay in the anime. I feel like there was just too much for it, but it's still, I think it belongs at the top of the Scratchman Apu tier. Share the World is over. It's good there, but it's not at the same level as Hikarie. So now it's the question, we've seen that the later openings are up there in the Uta tier, but there also have been some in the Scratchman Apu tier. So when will the first one come into the Simon or C tier? We will now enter the last part. We will now go into Marineford. We will go into the last part, pre-timeskip. I think Opening 12, 13, and 14 are the last pre-time skip openings, and then with 15 we start into the post-time skip stuff, because that's the first thing where I see Luffy was with his iconic X scar. But now let's see at what Kaze wo Sagashite can show us. Something with the wind. I don't know, let's hear it. Okay, now I need to clear something up. Don't get me wrong, Marineford and Impel Down are two of my favorite arcs, but this opening felt like it was a filler opening. At first I really thought that maybe they placed filler in between Marineford and Impel Down. That's why this entire opening didn't show anything and all of the Straw Hats were together again. So it's a bit weird to see all of these things. It also didn't have any energy in it. It was very calm, and you could say it's the calm before the storm, because we are slowly approaching the Great War of Marineford, but it just didn't feel like we were in any danger. It was a nice song with calm energy, the Straw Hats having fun together, and at the end we see the people flying down from the sky and entering Marineford, which they obviously did, but the music didn't fit the seriousness of the situation. And so, while the arcs in itself are great, this song is not my favorite, and that's why it's our first assignment here. Opening 12, you are a disappointment. I'm going to say it as it is. Disappointment here, disappointment there. Opening 13 won't be as bad. It's one day, which it should be the opening shortly after Ace died, or somewhat. It's the Marineford opening, so this is the first opening where Ace maybe says his goodbye. Now I feel like I've been listening to a lot of music, and this opening, while it was also calm and a bit sad, of a melancholic is I think the word, similar to the last opening, it did its job better. I mean, the animation you could separate into two completely different parts, the slideshows of characters and then the nicely done parts, but it shows the feelings that Luffy is feeling while this arc's going on. He's been separated by his friends, he feels a bit helpless and doesn't know what to do, and the music encapsulated all of that as well. It shows that Ace is in danger and Luffy wants to save him. And he remembers all of these things he did with Ace in the past, growing up together. And if this was pre-Ace's death, this is all setting us up to become even more emotional when Ace actually dies. So I think this opening does a good job in that. And as I just watched it and heard it for the first time, so it's interesting to me that they also made it seem like Ace is close to Luffy, and Luffy is smiling at Ace at one point, so he thinks that Ace is safe and he actually saved his brother, but we never actually see Ace's eyes at that point, so that also is the showing how close Ace and Luffy were at the point of Marineford, but it still how far they are, and essentially that Ace will die. So this will be below Bon Voyage in the Scratch Minapu tier. I think it's fair point. And you could put it higher or lower, but at most I can see it at the top of Scratch Minapu, but I think this is a fair point for it. We are already over the halfway point, so we're powering through it. We're going into the flashback of Luffy. The first time we will see Sabo, we go to Fight Together, opening 14. Let's go. What a great opening. I will say that I don't believe from the song and everything else it belongs in the Uta, but it can really go into Soaking Brook at the bottom there. It has shown the rite of passing. Luffy is still separated from his friends. He left his Straw Hat on the stone to train for 2 years together with Rayleigh, and we've seen a few snippets here and there of Luffy together with Sabo and Ace, even though we don't know Sabo yet. It's the first time we actually see him and meet that, actually learn that Luffy has a third brother, which is nice to see. Luffy, but it's not going to be as nice when we learn that Sabo actually died, which he didn't, but he died. So Oda with his fake out steps, we're not going to talk too much about it. But Luffy remembers that he still has all of his friends, and he has to grow stronger to protect them so that they don't end up the same way that his two brothers did. And Ace pushing him forward to keep on walking, keep on taking on his path, his dream to be the Pirate King and whatever Luffy's actual dream is. Fight Together has an emotional message, and I think it is really shown well by the lyrics and the animation it's accompanied by. So this is the right spot for it, and if it did a few things better here and there, like the chorus was maybe a bit more energetic. I mean, it does its thing that it wants to be. It wants to be a calm song that prepares for the next big thing, shows that characters are evolving and progressing through their like character growth and all of these things, character development. We see all of these things in this short opening, but it's just, if the music had been a bit more to my taste, it could have been in the Uta tier, but obviously music tastes are different for everybody, so maybe the next song will be a bit more up my alley, and let's see what WeGo has to offer. Imagine this. One Piece has been on a break and now we are returning to the post-time skip. We're seeing the characters after 2 years for the very first time. Their new designs, their new powers, everything that they have been through. We are entering a new arc with the post-time skip Sabaody arc, where we see their strengths for the first time. We go to Fishman Island, this place that we have been waiting to go to for 2 years now. All these things are going on, and the song in itself is very good as well. I'm going to put it, it's going to be below We Are 10th anniversary, but it's the second spot in the Uta tier. It shows everything I want to. The characters fighting, the characters being together, them having grown as people and as fighters. It's a lot of things going on, and I just feel like it's very cool to see the characters in the post-time skip for the very first time. And this is everything done by the opening. You have been waiting for them to reunite after they have been separated in Sabaody for the first time. And now they are back together. They are stronger than ever, cooler than ever, and prettier than ever, if you want to add that as well. WeGo is very strong, and the singer also does a good job at screaming, but with a nice voice, and so I think this is the place where it belongs to. You could argue it being a bit lower, maybe below Brand New World, but it's above Jungle P in my opinion. All of these depend on my music taste, so we shouldn't discuss about it too much, but hands up, opening 16 will be the next one we will listen to. Openings always carry a bit of the ambience, the atmosphere that will go on in the next arc. And this, hands up, is the opening for the Punk Hazard arc. We see Law joining up with Luffy for the first time, we see Smiley, we see Caesar, Monet, and Virgo, even though Virgo is already shown as a clown because he has steak on his face like he always does. So with the music being very hyper and happy in itself, it shows that Punk Hazard might be dangerous because it still has the energy and the power, but it's also, as I said, it's happy. It's a go-lucky song, so you might think that the Straw Hats will not have that much of a hard time in Punk Hazard seeing that song alone. Maybe I'm interpreting that song like that because I know what will happen or what happened in Punk Hazard, but it really feels like the openings also show you what will happen in the anime, in the arc, which obviously makes sense. Yes, the opening is meant to make you engaged and interested in what will happen in the anime, but it doesn't necessarily show you and tell you what the story will be like. I don't think that the opening 23 or 24 will show Luffy die. Maybe we'll get a sneak peek at Gear 5, but I don't know. So hands up, not heads up, we'll go into Soul King Brook tier, but let's put it below Crazy Rainbow. I think that's fair. 8 is above 16. Makes sense. Makes sense. 8 is more than 16 after all. But we will continue onwards and we will wake up because I need to wake up. It's been a long time listening to over 16 songs already. And now it's time for the 17th opening, Wake Up. From every opening, this one felt the most like a promotional video, if that makes sense. Instead of showing everything, I mean, we saw the things. We are now in Dressrosa. Dressrosa has started, so we know that the battle between Doflamingo, the Don Quixote pirates, the Straw Hat pirates with the alliance of Law and everybody else, that is going to start now. But that was only the last minute or 30 seconds of the opening. At first we got everything, fan service. We saw the Straw Hats fight against the Admirals, Luffy against Akainu, Sanji against Kizaru, Fujitora against Zoro, and Green Bull obviously wasn't shown yet, so Green Bull's not there in the opening, but all these things were happening, and it still hasn't happened in the manga. So what the hell? Why was it in there? It's just cool stuff to show to the anime watchers. The song itself was good, it was catchy, I liked it, but it wasn't as good as other songs that we heard so far. If I had to say anything, it also, let's put it at the top of Scratchman and Pooh so far, because I think that's where it belongs. I think it was a bit too fan servicey. Also, you know how sometimes anime opening does the thing where the music stops, or the music is still ongoing a bit, but the characters actually talk. So for some reason, Blackbeard appears. Blackbeard is nothing to do in the Dressrosa saga or arc. I don't remember him seeing him there actually. So what was he doing there? Then Blackbeard started talking and Luffy started having a conversation with him. What was that about? I know that Blackbeard wants to bring darkness over the world and Luffy wants to become the Pirate King, but it's still a bit weird to see that interaction in an arc where they have not interacted with each other. They are not even going to interact with each other for the next decade at that point where that opening is going to come out. So it's questionable why they added that. I mean, they talked for a few seconds. They talked for a few seconds, yes, because Burgess was in Dressrosa, and we had the small Den Mushi talk between Luffy and Blackbeard, I think. But that's it. So yes, they talk with each other, but it's a bit too much to actually show all of that in the opening. So it wasn't to me. The animation was nice. It was very cool, but I feel like the storytelling that they did in the opening was not to my liking. I hope the next opening, which is Hard Knock Days, which I remember hearing that name. I think I heard this song as well. I think this one was a good one. So let's get into it and see if my memory actually serves me right. I like this opening. As I said, I remember it because this is one of the openings that have been airing. It was the Dressrosa opening, so it has been airing for a long time. And everybody, I think it was very much loved. Hard Knock Days is... It's hard. It's going hard. It's a very strong opening, and actually I think this one will be my new number one. It doesn't have the same emotional value as We Are, but it shows a lot of different things. It works very well with the Dressrosa arc, showing actually how the big fleet is being formed, even though Shirahoshi was also there, which she shouldn't be. But I mean, if they just showed the Grand Fleet, it makes sense that other allies like the Revolutionary Army was also in that one scene, even though they are not in Dressrosa. I mean, the revolutionaries are there, but Ivankov and Inazuma are not there, so they just show all of the allies that the Straw Hats have gotten over the past. And we also see that Sabo is actually alive, and at first you might not know that it's Sabo, just seeing like the blonde character with the top hat, even though it was very obvious that it's Sabo. And seeing him together, like inheriting Ace's will, it just shows that the story will go on. Even if a character dies, there will be people to inherit the will. And that's the whole thing of One Piece. Inherited will and dreams and freedoms, all of these things are important to the story of One Piece. And Hard Knock Days shows all of that. Even though they still showed... I feel like this opening made it seem like there would be a Buster Call on Dressrosa, which obviously there wasn't. It was only Fujitora and his gang. I don't know if we call the people from the Marines also a crew. And I mean, it could be called Fujitora's crew, Fujitora's army. It just all these people were there, but people like Akainu and Kizaru, they did not go there. And we also did not see a silhouette for Green Bull either. I think... Was it in Dressrosa when we saw the silhouette of Green Bull? No, it wasn't the Reverie. It wasn't the Reverie, which is later. But now we go to we can. A lot of we and then another verb. It's just a One Piece thing. We can. We should be... Maybe we are still in Dressrosa. We could... No, we are now going to Zou, I think. This is either the end of Dressrosa and the start of Zou, or the entirety of Zou, because after that we will go over to Whole Cake Island, which is one of my favorite arcs. But for now, let's listen to We Can. I actually remembered something listening to that song. I have never heard We Can. It's a good song, it's catchy, it has everything I want, but it's weird. Maybe this is actually a down rank for every other song. Do you remember what story saga we are in? It's the entire thing of helping Momo and everybody else defeating Kaido. And I don't remember seeing Momo or Kinemon in any of the openings so far. We Can is the first opening showing Momo, Kinemon, and Kanjuro now. We have not seen Raizo in that opening, but like, where were they in the past few openings? Like 17, 18, and 19 all should have had Kinemon and Momo at least. And this is weird. Why were they not in there? Why did they not show the samurai? Maybe they just wanted to show the popular characters and the samurai was still new, so they didn't want to show them. Anyways, as I expected, this is a lot of fan service and then a few things here and there from Zoe, because the Straw Hats never fought as a full party against Jack. This opening really did a good job of showing Jack as a good character, which he sadly didn't turn out to be. Jack was the first character to have over 1 billion berry bounties, so he was made up to be that great enemy. And showing the Straw Hats fight against him as a force together would have shown how strong he actually is. But if they actually fought all together against Jack, he wouldn't have had a chance at this point. He would have been completely destroyed by everybody. And then they also had a small fight against Kaido. This is the first time we actually see Gear 4 in an opening, I think. I just watched them, but I don't remember seeing Gear 4. So this is the first time. And the opening in itself, it's hyped up, it makes you interested in all these things, but it's just, I feel like it's, let's put it here. Second place, Scratchman Apu. It's not this, it just doesn't feel at the same level as Fight Together and other things. It's a good opening. As I said, don't get me wrong about putting any of these songs if they are your favorite song in these places. You can see I'm trying to put them in a fair place. That's also why we don't have that many things in Simon and Seed here. But no buts. I'm fair. I'm doing this fairly. I'm trying to do it at my best that I can. And no other song will probably get in the C or in the Simon tier, because those 5 remaining songs, just from the pictures alone, they look amazing. So I'm interested in how the next one will turn out, because we will now go in one of my favorite arcs, which is Whole Cake Island. Why it's my favorite arc, I will tell you after listening to this song. So just give me a second, I will listen to it now, and you are going to hear my opinion in just a split second. Only a few openings are missing, and we will go through them big. I told you I will tell you now why the Straw Hats. I told you I will now tell you why Whole Cake Island is one of my favorite arcs, and that is because Usopp is not there. I don't like Usopp. That's the whole thing. That's the whole meme. I don't like Usopp. But Hope is a good opening. It's obviously in the Soul King Brook tier. I'm going to put it below the original We Are, because it just didn't have the same vibe to me. It didn't have the nostalgic boost, but it's also one of the openings that many people listen to, and that's why I heard it from time to time when I like remember the YouTube AMVs or stuff. It shows the things that Sanji is going through, his past, him running away from his past, him returning from buying some milk for the Straw Hats, all these emotional things that Sanji has been going through, and that he's feeling separated from the crew and then joining up with them. We also see the Germa, and I'm also having a few questions with how they did a few things for the Big Mom Pirates, because Smoothie was made up to be quite menacing, and Smoothie has not done anything yet. Like, I'm not talking about just in Whole Cake Island. Smoothie didn't even do anything yet in the entirety of the manga. What will she even do? When will Smoothie actually appear? I think Smoothie might be there for the battle against Blackbeard, but even then, if she's not there, Smoothie will just be the second strongest person. Like, the ranking from the Big Mom Pirates are Big Mom, Katakuri, Smoothie, and then Cracker. And Smoothie has not done anything yet. And Cracker, he didn't even appear in the picture when they showed Big Mom together with all of his strong, like, children. It was Big Mom, Katakuri, Smoothie, Daifuku, Oven, and some other, I think it was the Butter Woman. No, it was not the Butter Woman, it was somebody else. It was some woman from, like, one of Big Mom's daughters, but not Cracker. Where was he? I don't know why the opening did that, which actually makes me think I need to put it below Cracker. I'm actually going to put it below Hands Up. This is more fair, because the opening didn't make any sense. Like, if it actually is an opening for the Whole Cake Island arc, it didn't show the things that it should have done, so that's the place where I think it belongs to. But now we are going into the big things. We are now going to the opening, which is about Katakuri versus Luffy. The first time with the future, the advanced observation haki, the future side, all these things are now going to be revealed. So let's see how opening 21 will hold up compared to the other ones. In itself, Superpowers was not a bad opening. It just didn't feel One Piece. By the name itself, Superpowers could potentially be a My Hero Academia opening, but the animation and the things you saw in the opening boosted up again. And in itself, the song was not bad. Let's just put it here for now. It's going into Scratchman and Pooh, below Bon Voyage. That's the right spot. It belongs there because it's the first time we see Snake Man. We see, as I said, the future side of Luffy for the first time. We see Sanji fighting against these characters. We see more of the Germa. We see more of Big Mom. We see the whole thing that's going on with Beige. All of these things are happening, but these openings always want to show every Straw Hat at least once. So now that I see all of Straw Hats like somewhat appearing in Whole Cake Island, even though they were not all there, that makes me question something. What if the Straw Hats were all in Big Mom's Island? What if all of the Straw Hats were in Whole Cake Island? With everybody there, Zoro, Frankie, Usopp, Robin, and Luffy and the other people as well, together with Beige's crew, could they have defeated Big Mom? It might have taken a turn for the worse because Luffy obviously didn't awaken just yet, and he struggled against beating Katakuri alone, but after Katakuri was defeated, the entire Big Mom crew could have gotten defeated by the Straw Hats and Beige combined. Then they would have needed some time. But Jinbei didn't fight that much as well. I feel like together with everybody, they maybe could have pulled off a win against Big Mom. Maybe. Just thinking about this what if scenario, what if all the Straw Hats were in Whole Cake Island? Yes, they could have defeated Big Mom, and then Law and Kid never would have needed to fight against her. Or they could, because obviously they wouldn't have killed Big Mom. Maybe Beige would have killed Big Mom. Beige very well could have gone after Big Mom's life. That's the kind of character he is. But let's not waste too much time on sidetracking on what if scenarios. Let's go to the opening that I know that a lot of you have listened already, because I heard that it's very hype and it's a lot of strength for the first Wano opening. Over the Top is probably going to be an over the top song, so I will listen to it now. I already predicted this song is quite literally over the top. I'm going to put it where it belongs, at the bottom of Uta tier, which is still obviously good because it's the top tier. Give me a bit of a leeway here because I didn't watch the anime, so I just saw clips here and there. So obviously the Wano art style changed a lot in the anime as well, so that makes me think that it was a big change for everybody. Just seeing how the characters looked was basically like seeing them for the first time after the time skip with their Wano clothes and everything. So Wano is a big jump, and Wano is one of my favorite, if not my favorite arc at the moment. So it's a bit strong. It's a strong contender for all of the openings. Seeing Luffy go Gear 4, fight against Kaido, seeing all of Kaido's crew, seeing all of the scabbards, seeing Sanji use his raid suit, already hinting that there's some sort of story element that the raid suit will bring in. All of these things make for a good build-up and a good starting point for the Wano arc. Now the question is, how the other two openings will build on top of that. How will they build on Over the Top? Dreaming On and Paint. Is it Paint? Paint, or... Let me look up the name for that in a second. Give me 1 second here. It really is Paint. It was a bit hard to read here. Paint really looks like, from the picture alone of Luffy, it looks like the most high quality. And that is one of the reasons why some people watch anime. Because the anime elevates what the manga offered. The manga is the main media. It shows the story how it was supposed to be shown. But the anime can build on top of that and increase the value you get out of watching it, with voice acting, OST, art style changes here and there as well. So I just am excited to see those two last openings, and then I have a few things to say at the end, but let's get into Dreaming On for now. Good opening, not much else to say. It shows the entirety before the raid, maybe the start of the raid as well. We've seen the Odin flashback, we've seen the prison parts, we've seen Luffy growing, learning Ryo Haki, and all these other things like advanced armaments. Not advanced conquerors yet, because I don't even know if he learned it in the anime just yet, but maybe Paint will show that. But Dreaming On can dream on and goes at the top of the Scratch Manapu list. It's just didn't have the same things that Over the Top did. Maybe that's the thing that Over the Top had the start of Wano, and Dreaming On had the build-up of Wano. So the start is obviously exciting because it's a new mysterious island, and then the build-up is just there in the end. It's important for the later parts, which means Dreaming On is important as a build-up for Paint. But in itself, it's just a song that's going to be there and maybe it's going to be forgotten as the time goes on. But the same won't be true for Paint. So the last opening, I'm going to go right into it and tell you my opinion about it just in a second. This was great. It's the last opening of the day, and you know, it did everything it did everything it was supposed to do. I'm going to place it above We Go. I think that's fair. It's not the best opening, and it's obviously not the best opening. It has a lot of things to show. It makes the clear how tyrannical Kaido was, how hard it was for the people of Wano. Then we see the Lantern Festival, we see a bit more of Odin here and there, and we see that how the battle starts. A few of the matchups against the Tobiroppo, a few of the matchups against the All-Stars, and also Luffy continuing to fight against Kaido, being assisted by Kid-in-Law as well. We have not seen Kid-in-Law fight against Big Mom yet, I think. I mean, we've seen them sometime. We've seen this whole puncture Willow. So that's... I don't know. I mean, there's been a lot of things going on, but Paint is great. It's the animation, especially in the first half. I think it didn't level down, but the first few minutes... Not minutes, the first minute, maybe the first 30 seconds, it was amazing. It looked like a short movie. And all these things from the few clips that I've seen from some of the anime, they look just as amazing as that part. So the anime watchers are eating well. That's something I can say. Maybe I'll watch some of the anime episodes here and there. Normally I just watch the battles, because obviously that's what the anime does well. But the problem with One Piece is that there's the whole feeding out everything, like, you know, the pacing problem. Like, normally an anime adapts 3 or 4 chapters in one episode, and One Piece sometimes doesn't even adapt 1 chapter, so that's why I don't watch the anime. But still, the openings are great, and if you don't agree with my tier list, and you can see it in its entirety right now, put it in the comments, tell me what you think. Maybe I will do a similar video for the endings. Maybe I will do it for another anime. I just want to share my idea about music because I enjoy music a lot. So I want to do it. Don't mind me being a VTuber. It's just my aesthetic. So we look at all of these openings. It was amazing, and I can't wait for the next video to come out because Shadow Piece is going strong, which is my what if scenario of basically what if Moria became the main character of One Piece. There are a few creative liberties here and there, but it's a very nice watch if you didn't, so get into it. And this has been Pyro Prima. If you enjoyed the video, click on that like button and that subscribe button if you're new here. All left to be said is stay healthy, stay cultured, and most importantly, stay happy. See you in the next video. Bye!